Hello and welcome to Arsenal Domination as we go into a new week where hopefully we will see some movement in the forward line. I want to talk about one of Arsenal's existing forwards, Ethan Nwaneri. He is, of course, an England under-21 winner after England beat Germany in extra time on Saturday evening. But I just want to talk about what his role might be going into the season because there was a lot of sort of talk around how Ethan might go because of his lack of game time towards the end of the season and how he could and should have started games that he didn't towards the end of the season when Saka started or Odegaard started. And I understand that to some extent. Ethan Nwaneri needs minutes and has played very, very well. And Saka was being eased back in, and there was nothing really on the line at that moment in time. Odegaard had been out of form, albeit I think he was starting to come back into form slightly. And therefore, you'd expect or would have expected Ethan Nwaneri to start some of those games. But he did, on the other hand, as I say, play a lot of minutes last season, and you could sort of see his body isn't maybe quite as physically developed as Miles Lewis-Skelly and therefore able to cope with the strain. We sort of saw him pick up niggles when he did start a few games. And I think Mikel Arteta will have been aware of that and, taken that into account. Coming into this season, you'd expect similar minutes or maybe even more. I've often talked about how Pep Guardiola managed Phil Foden at City, and Arteta, of course, will have seen that sort of while he was there and sort of seems to be taking a similar approach to Ethan Nwaneri. But Arsenal are going to bring in increased competition this year, and the aforementioned England under-21 championship might also impact Ethan Nwaneri as well. I would assume he is not going to report back to training on Monday. I assume he's going to be given a few weeks off now because he's just taken part in this tournament where he will have got, where he got several minutes and will have been away and hasn't had a chance to sort of rest and recuperate. And that is important for any athlete to do that. So he'll be linked back to pre-season, and we all know how important pre-season is. We saw how it impacted Mikel Moreno last year. We've heard players talk about it in the past, particularly Theo Walcott, about how crucial a full pre-season is. Now, he won't be missing it through injury, but he will be missing those crucial first few weeks where you start to develop the fitness. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it at the club you're at or another club to some extent. There is some element of that where you want to sort of get used to the tactical style, but really those first few weeks are about sort of fitness and getting used to the ball again. And him missing that could see him, in my view, not start a lot of games or even get a lot of game time in those early weeks as he tries to build it up. But I think as the season goes on, despite the increased competition, he will see increased game time. I think he will be aware of what it is. And he, during his contract negotiation, I expect him to sign a new contract, will be aware of what the pathway is going to be and what that's going to look like. And I think he will sign up to that. But I'm not expecting Ifeanyi to get significant minutes in the opening few weeks of the season because of the England 21 Championship.